How is practice without Aiden and David, even Josh Ross? How different is it this season, this spring?
Those guys had a big impact on our football team, but we have a lot of people who are going to come back and fill in their roles. So practice is going.
How imperative is it for you to really establish yourself this year, being your 5th year and all of that?
Can you say that again?
How imperative is it for you to establish yourself this year?
Oh, it's mandatory. I'm really excited for the opportunity I'm going to have, and I'm excited to show everybody what I can do.
What is it that you think that people haven't seen from you that you want to put on display?
That I'm one of the best football players in the country.
What makes you say that? What have you seen from yourself that makes you say that?
I have all the intangibles to be one of the most versatile players in the country. I can pass rush for a 3-tech. I can play interior. I can play the edge. I can drop into coverage. I can cover tight ends. I can cover running backs. I can do it all.
We're always talking about the losses of Aiden and David, but with guys like you and Mike and what you have, does that resonate with you? Like the idea that okay, that's everyone's talking about departures, but we're still here.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, we're still here. Credit to those guys for when they had their opportunity, they went off with it and they did a lot for our football team. But they're gone. They're not here in the program anymore. And we have a lot of good football players, and that's how it's always been at the University of Michigan. It's always been the next man up, and all the players that are that have been waiting for their time, they're ready.
Do you see much of a difference in mentor coaching? Working under McDonald last year.
They have different personalities, but they're both really cool guys. I'm really happy with Zinner and how he came in here and presented himself. So they're both similar though.
Is he adding his own touch to the defense?
Yeah, definitely a little bit of his own touch.
Anything you can share?
I don't think so.
What's he like personally?
He's a really calm dude, really collected dude. He's nice. I really like his demeanor. It's just like calm when I'm around him or when we're on the field. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of hectic stuff going on. He's really under control. So
Similar to McDonald.
Definitely.
What's the biggest thing that you feel like you've learned from Mike Elston so far?
Biggest thing I learned from Mike Elston, just fixing up my technique. Fixing up my craft. He's really big on the details, so that's something that you always want to keep working on, and that's something we are working on. Just the little things and putting all the pieces together.
What's the biggest difference between him and Sean Nua?
Sean Nua was a really big energy guy, and there's a lot of benefits with that. And Coach Elston's more of a, I would say, a technician. He's not I wouldn't say as much the same type of energy, but it's more, technical with him.
Are there things you can take away from Aiden and David and some of the guys that left that you can put towards your game?
Definitely. Those guys were elite when they were here, and we still have film on them. I still talk to them, so definitely can learn a lot from them, especially if I'm going to be stepping into one of the roles. They have a lot of advice to offer and stuff like that.
Do you see yourselves using different, tactics from a pass rush standpoint this year? Maybe incorporate more of the tackles with Mozzie, or do you see a lot of the same things?
I can't speak for everyone, but I could definitely see Mozzie Smith getting incorporated into the pass rush this year. He's really coming along, and he's a fast, strong, powerful guy. So why wouldn't you want to have him on the field?
Mozzie aside, who's impressed you the most as far as, or who's made the biggest jump from last year till now on the interior of the line that you've seen?
Interior on the line, who's made the biggest jump? I like how Rashawn Benny's coming along. he's really coming into himself as a football player. I would say that as far as the interiors. Oh, and then Chris Jenkins as well. Chris Jenkins is a mutant, as he would say as he would say for himself. But no, he's a freak. You're going to hear him a lot this year as well.
Because it's the same foundation defensively, I mean, do you see yourselves being able to expand, I guess, the menu of blitzes, different types of even blitz simulators that you guys ran last year? Do you see yourselves expanding upon that?
Definitely. I definitely can see there's going to be some new plays, new type of ways to incorporate people in this year's defense, for sure.
It being your 5th year, how much different of an atmosphere is it this spring in comparison to the 4 springs before this one?
Well, for me, it's a 5th year. It's definitely a lot easier to handle as compared to when I was first coming in here. But the environment is. I mean, the older you get, or like the more comfortable you get, it's more fun to play football. So I'm having a really fun spring. I'm really enjoying my time with my teammates, taking it all in.
A lot of the players we've talked a lot about leadership and coming into this upcoming season. Do you see yourself in that role? And are you a loud guy, or are you how would you describe it?
I definitely see myself as a leader. I might not always be the one who's like yelling or screaming, but I lead in my own ways. So that's how I see myself.
Mazia says he has notes up around like his mirrors that remind him of his goals. Do you do anything like that? Do you have certain levels you want to achieve?
I don't have any notes in my room, but I do write notes in my phone. And so when I have something that comes to my mind, I'll write it down, and then I'll make sure to like look at it when I feel like being inspired.
Okay, is there anything else for Taylor?
How's the offensive line looking?
Good. I think they're looking really good. Yeah.
Anybody in particular that we haven't maybe thought about much or that's standing out?
Well, we have the new center who transferred over,
Yeah.
Olu. He's a really good player. I like Trente Jones. He's doing a really good job. Zach Center's doing a really good job. And then all the other guys. Hayes he's been there. He's been good. And as well as Keegan, they're all good. But I'm impressed with Trente and Zinner.
Just from spring practice perspective, what is it that you want to accomplish?
What does I want to accomplish? I want to improve my craft. I want to get closer with my teammates. I want my teammates to know that they can trust me and I can have their back. And then I want us to be one of the best, if not the best, football team in the country.
Going back to Aiden, is there a player that's kind of stepped up and kind of maybe filled that vocal presence role that he kind of had last year? I mean, he seemed like he was kind of somewhat of the heartbeat, I guess, of the defense.
Definitely. When I look back at like leadership roles and what I said as myself as a leader, for someone who's more of a vocal leader, I would probably say Michael Morris is probably one of the more vocal guys who enjoys that role of speaking his mind. So I would say, as far as a vocal standpoint, probably Mike Morris.
And how much is for players when they look at a guy like that? I mean, they look at him as a person that that they could count on. I mean, in that sense, how much sweat equity, I guess, do you have to kind of build up to kind of be able to have that role within a program?
You have to earn everybody's respect in the building. So to have that role as the vocal leader, everybody has to have your back. Everybody has to believe what you're saying, and you have to live by that life. You have to live that life. If you're gonna say it, you're gonna have to back it up. So that's definitely how you take on that role. You have to earn everybody's respect.
Last year at this time, everything seemed focused on changing the narrative for the team and focusing on Ohio State. Now that you've beaten Ohio State and won the Big Ten, what are the challenges this year to go into this upcoming season to have the same or more success?
Maintaining what we just had, like maintaining a season and building off that. We have a lot of new guys who are going to have to take, including myself, that are going to have to take on roles they've never had. So it's not like, oh, we're good. Like, we have a lot to prove. I have a lot to prove. Our teammates have a lot to prove, and we're not satisfied. We didn't win a national championship. That's something our team wants to do this year. So that's how you keep focused, because we didn't accomplish everything we wanted to. It was a good year last year, but it's over with.
You guys approached last season though as underdogs and talking a lot about chip on the shoulder. How do you try to replicate that, because you're coming off of such a successful season?
We're coming off a successful season, but I feel like Michigan always has had that chip on their shoulder. Michigan's always going to be doubted. The players who are stepping into new roles are always going to be doubted. So it really just feels like the same atmosphere. I think Cade McNamara has done a good job of trying to tell everybody that to maintain that atmosphere, because we're not satisfied.
All good?
Awesome. Thank you.
All right.